You know that feeling where the truth is all around you every single day and somehow you can still miss it? Not because you're running away from it, not because you don't know it. Just close, really close. It's in your pocket, on your feed, popping up while you're having tea or coffee or a Fanta or a Coca-Cola or whatever, and still missing what actually matters. I didn't see this clearly for a long time. I figured if truth kept showing up in my daily scroll or my conversations, then obviously I was taking it in. I was good with it. But man, that's not always how it works. There's this line in Matthew 15 where Jesus says, "These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me." And that line kind of stopped me. You can sound right, look right, even share the right stuff, and still be far away in the place that really counts. Close, but not really aligned. This has been sitting with me because it shows up in such an ordinary way in my life. Most of my mornings, I grab my water and I open up my phone. My X feed is full of Christian content, short videos, podcast clips, verses of the day, friends sharing encouraging posts. I scroll through, like a few, save some, maybe forward one with a quick, "This is good." It feels like I'm engaged, you know? Like the truth is right there with me all day. But then real life kicks in. A stressful moment, money worries, or catching myself comparing my situation to someone else's. I'll see a post about peace and patience or generosity. It nudges me for a second, and then I keep scrolling or go right back to the same reactions. There's this one meme I really like. It shows a guy sitting casually with Jesus, both of them smiling, and the guy is showing Jesus all the memes and the stuff he liked while he was alive. It always makes me laugh because it's so relatable. But it also makes me pause and ask myself, am I doing the same thing? Treating the truth like content to consume and nod at, instead of something that actually gets to change how I live my day. It didn't feel like rejection. It just felt normal. I'll think about that later, or that was a good word, maybe for someone else. Meanwhile, nothing inside was really shifting. I was surrounded by truth every day, drowning in it honestly, and still missing it where it mattered the most. When I started thinking about this, I realized Scripture has been showing the same quiet pattern for a long time. It begins with Abraham, God calling him out of a completely different world with this big promise. Then Isaac carrying that promise. And then Jacob, who wrestled with God one night and walked away changed, limping but renamed Israel. From Jacob came 12 sons. One of them was Levi. His family line became the priests, the Levites. God told them he himself would be their inheritance. No regular land like the other tribes. They carried the tabernacle, offered sacrifices, taught the law, and lived closer to things of God than anyone else. They grew up breathing that world every single day. The smell of incense, the rhythm of feasts, the stories and the prophecies. Truth wasn't something they visited on Sundays. It was the air they breathed. They were raised right in the middle of it. And yet, from that same priestly line came Caiaphas, the high priest during Jesus' time. Picture the scene. It's Passover in Jerusalem. The city is packed with pilgrims. Tension is thick. The Roman soldiers are watching. Caiaphas had spent his entire life inside this system, born into the family, trained from childhood, married into power. He knew every ritual and every scripture by heart. He walked the temple courts where God's presence had once rested. Then a dude named Jesus shows up, healing people, forgiving sins, speaking with authority that shook everything familiar. It threatened the order Caiaphas knew. So he gathers the council. You can almost feel the fear and the calculation in the room. He basically says it's better for one man to die than for the whole nation to be at risk. He was standing right there looking at the Messiah his ancestors had been waiting for, and he missed him. All he saw was a threat to the system. He honored God with his lips every day in the temple, but his heart was far away. And here's what still surprises me. From that exact same Levite line comes Barnabas, also called Joseph. Same background, same daily exposure, same everything. But when the early church started showing this wild generosity, people selling land and houses to take care of each other, Barnabas sells a field he owned and brings all the money to the apostles. No spotlight, just glad surrender. Later, when everyone was nervous about the newly converted Saul, Barnabas took a risk, stood with him, and helped the others see what God was doing. Same heavy exposure to truth. One man protected what was familiar and comfortable, while the other saw God at work and opened his hands with joy. That contrast still gets me. So when I sit with Caiaphas and Barnabas, coming from the same line, it stops feeling like an old story about them. It starts feeling like my own phone screen, like my own scrolling. In my daily life, I wasn't doing anything as big as Caiaphas, but I was doing my own quiet version, consuming the truth, liking it, nodding along, even sharing bits of it, while keeping the parts of me that needed to change at a safe distance. I was pretty attached to my usual ways of reacting, the stress, the comparisons, the quick defenses. Letting truth actually interrupt that and require a real shift felt harder than just scrolling past or saving it for later. It's funny how "I'll apply that someday" can sound so reasonable. The hopeful part I'm learning is this. Jesus doesn't wait until our hearts are perfectly aligned. He meets us right in the middle of our close but still missing it places, whether that's in an ancient temple or on a modern phone screen. And he begins this work slowly, the egoectomy, cutting away the me show bit by bit so we can start reflecting him more clearly. I'm still very much in the middle of it. I'm still catching myself consuming instead of responding. But every now and then, there's a small moment where I let the truth land, and something in how I react that day actually shifts. Those moments feel like real grace, like I'm breathing a little freer, like I'm starting to reflect him just a tiny bit more. So yes, you can really be raised around truth or surrounded by it every day in your feed and still miss it. Not because you are far away, but because closeness without actually responding is still distance in the heart. The question I keep coming back to isn't, am I close enough? It's more like, what have I been scrolling past or nodding at for so long that I've never really responded to? I'm asking myself that again this week. I wonder if it's landing with you too. We'll keep walking through these ordinary, honest places together. Until next time, keep letting that slow surgery happen. Grace is usually right there in the middle of it. You can be raised around truth and still miss it, but you don't have to stay there.